name is James Olashupo. I'm a technical support engineer at Ha-Shem. Most people call me Smiley James. Like I said last week, most people really just go back and say, so we didn't get to see you smile on the presentation. So you can actually see my face and pick from the smiling, right? Some of my workloads include some Azure, around Azure and Azure security, Azure infrastructure, Azure data as well, right? Then I also major on Microsoft 365, be it modern workplace around desktop or endpoint around security, which is EMS. I also major on Windows Server, cloud security, both Azure and Microsoft 365 security as well. And this is a link to my LinkedIn should you wanted to know more about me. Right, so this is the agenda for today. I'm just going to do a quick recap of some of the things that we covered last week. And I promise you today, I'm not going to use any demo. I'm not going to use any slides. This is just almost like the last slides that I'm going to be using. Everything that we're going to be doing is going to be on the portal. That the demo, we're going to delve into the full demo from the beginning of this session to the end of this session. And we're going to be covering things around reviewing assessment requirements. Last week, I was unable to show us finally on how to implement the Azure Migrate appliance, which I apologize for. I'm going to be showing us that. That's the first thing I'm going to be showing us. Then we're going to be reviewing assessment requirements. As some of the assessment that we've done, we're going to see those that require dependencies. For us to fulfill some dependencies, we're going to see how we can review and also satisfy these dependencies. Also, we're going to see how we can use Azure Database Migration, Azure Database Data Migration Assistant, pardon me. We're going to be using Azure Data Migration Assistant. I will also tell us what Azure Data Migration Assistant is, right? So then we're going to be using that as to perform assessment, how we can use it to perform assessment as well. Also, we're also going to be using Azure Migrate to initiate migration of servers, those that we have fulfilled dependencies, that we've satisfied the dependency. We're going to be seeing how we can use Azure Migrate to do the migration, to do the move, the test migration, that's from the discovery phase to the replication phase to the migration phase. Then we are also going to understand a technology, the underlying technology that Azure Migrate will use in doing what? In achieving migration processes. That's from the first phase to the last phase of migration, right? We're also going to see how we can use Azure Database Migration Service as well, which is also an underlying service that Azure, Data Migration Assistant will use. We're going to see how these two merges together to perform migration of both our data and also our infrastructure to Azure. Then immediately after that, I'm going to be taking some questions so that we can provide some answers. So let's quickly delve into it. So let me remind us again. So if you have a question, you can actually populate it in the chat window, or you wait maybe to the end of the demo for us to really enjoy the demo together. So I'm going to be sharing. Let me know if you can fully see my screen. I'm going to be sharing my entire desktop right now. Yeah. Okay. Right. So this is my portal, and let me quickly take us through the recap. We told us last week that should you want to start the Azure Migrate project, you want to start it, you can just, once you land in Azure portal, you can go straight down and use your words, go to the useful links where you have Azure Migration Tools, and it's going to take you to Azure Migrate dashboard, where you can get to see the server, the goals, that's the migration goals that has been defined. Is it servers that you want to migrate? Is it databases, or is it your virtual desktop infrastructure, or is it your web apps, or is it your data boxes itself, right? So we started last week by performing discovery and assessment. So right, I showed us what I have installed initially, but right now I'm just going to take us back to show us how the Migrate appliance, that's Azure Migrate appliance, how you can configure it and how you can set it up to make sure you register what we call your machine from, hand to hand. That's the reason why I wanted to cover what I want to cover, a lot of that session for us today. So let's delve into that before any other thing. So this is my extracted Azure Migrate appliance file, which I have downloaded, right? And I'll go to my Hyper-V, right? Then I'll go to import virtual machine, then I'll click next. So it is almost very simple for us to achieve. Just go to the location whereby you have extracted the file to, right? I'm just going to go, then I'll click on virtual machine here and I'll select the folder, right? Then I'll go next. So it tells me the names, it tells me where it was created. And let us remember that I told us last week that if you want to do what? If you want to use these migrates, don't use the register or restore. So use the copy the virtual machines so that you can have a new unique ID, right? So I'm going to use copy the virtual machines. This is the location where I want my virtual machines to be stored into. So I'll click next, and I'm just going to click next. Yeah, then it's oh, awesome. Did I have anybody? Okay. Pardon me, please. Let me quickly check that. Okay. Okay. So this is it. It's showing it here already. So I can just go ahead and that's just a way for me to do what, for a way for me to let me change the location where I'm going to be using that. Let me change the locations. I want to believe that it was the one that failed last week that copied that one for us. So I'll change the location where I'm storing the words, where I'm storing the virtual machines. Okay, copy the virtual machine and store in a different location. Then I'm going to use this new folder, Azure Migrate. I can use this folder. Then I'll select the folder. Then also store the same thing inside there. That's Azure Migrate folder as well, right? I can do that. Then smart paging, I'm going to store it also in that folder, right? So I'm going to click next, right? Then, oh, okay, let's do something. Let's do something. While I just did not want to, I might just have to delete this guy, right? So let me see now. The PhD. Oh, awesome. So this is almost going through now, right? So it's asking me for the virtual processor. So I'm going to give 4 because of the host that I'm using. I'm going to make it 4. Then I will need to select my connections. That's my NIC as well. Then I'll hit on finish. So once this one is running, and after it's completed, we're going to come back to come and review this. So why we do what? Why we check out some other things in the Azure portal. So let's go to the Azure portal for us to check out some other things. Now, for some of the ones that we have discovered earlier on, so the ones that we've accessed, these discovered servers, if you recall, we have about 6 servers that we discovered, and we have them here. And this is the appliance name, right? So, and this is from host 1 as well. So last week also we get to install some, dependencies on we saw that I have installed dependency on one of the server, two of the servers. So we're going to see what that dependency means. So for all the Hyper-V, virtual machines with Hyper-V, we need to do what? We need to install the dependencies as well. Even if we are running a Linux, if you're running a Linux, there must be some dependencies that is attached to the agent base. So you need to go over that as well. So also last week, I get to show us, let's see the service mapping. Let's see what is mapping to this particular servers, so that we can get to see what are the services that we go down and everything. So this one gives us the what? It gives us the power of what? Knowing which server is connected to this to this particular node, and on what protocol, on what port and protocol is this server being connected. Like you can see here, you have the DC-12, and one host is running, and the port that is being connected is on port 53, which is DNS. This one is using the public DNS, which is 8888. And another one, I have 137, which is about NetBIOS, right? So you can go deeper for you to see more about how these services are connected to each of the servers or each of the nodes that you have in in all your discovered machine. Now, this is made possible because we were able to do what? We were able to install the dependencies that we have here. So we were able to install the required agent. And if we need to go ahead and install the required agent here, so all you just need to do is what? We need to download the Microsoft monitoring agent. We need to install it. If it is Windows, you select the Windows. If it is Linux, you select the Linux. Then after you've done that, you now need to download the and install the dependency agent as well. Then we can go ahead and copy the workspace ID. That's if you have not created before, you need to create a workspace. That's workspace analytics. You need to create it. Then you also need to, it's automatically going to give you your key the moment you've created that, right? So that is what you're going to populate when you are installing the Microsoft monitoring agents. Let's see how we can quickly install on one server. That's one of the agents that we wanted to do, one of the agents that we want to install. So I'm going to go to SQL Server here. So let me log into this SQL Server. Let me see. I'm going to just go to Control Panel just for me to validate all this, right? Okay, do I have that? I don't have that. Okay, so let me go to the file where I have copied the downloaded file. I have downloaded the file. So this is the file already, right? This is the Microsoft monitoring agent that we've downloaded already. And this is my workspace ID, the key that I have generated as well. So I need to just do what? I need to open this side by side, and I'm going to go ahead and run this, right? I'm just going to go ahead and run this, run as administrator. So next, okay. I think I've installed that before. Let's just go next. Okay. Okay. Monitoring agent. Okay. All right. Awesome. So this is just going to take a while for the installation. Okay, yes, it's done now. So now the other one is this install dependency agent, which I think I have also installed as well. So let me see. I think I've installed that before. Okay, so that is done. It's going to take about 15 minutes for the dependency agent to send the information as gathered on each of the servers, on each of the nodes where you have installed both the dependency agent and also the monitoring agent on. So we need to do what? We need to just give it a little time while that one is synchronizing, so that we can get to see what? We can get to see the full, so that we can get to see the full analysis of each of our each of the nodes that we have in the environment. So we're just going to wait a while so that we can get to see this. It's on this. Oh, okay, this is the one. Let me get to see another server that I can use. Let's say this one. This is my domain controller, a new domain controller, and it's running on server 2016. Let me see whether I have the agent. I'm just going to copy the agent from another servers that I have it already. So these are the 3 files, right? I'll copy it and I'll put it on the server itself. So, oh, okay, I think I have it here. So let me run this. Skip, I don't want you to run it again, yeah. Oh, I think I forcibly installed it. Sorry about that. So let me run this. Let me run this again. I sincerely, I think this is fine. I have activated it now. So we can go on and wait for a while for us to do what? For us to see the information that each of these server has what? Each of these server has a dependencies on. So that is how we do what? That is how we install the agent, required agents, and it is around monitoring agent and also dependencies agent. So dependencies agent is the one that will give us the mapping. That's the service mapping that you have as per one server to the other. How many servers is connecting to these particular machines, and how, on what protocol, on what port are they connected as well. So after we have done this, right? So another part is for us to now fully go on to say we want to migrate. Yes, we've seen the assessment, we've gathered what and what we needed. We've got to say that, okay, this domain controller is ready. We can see those ones that are ready for Azure. We're ready, the one that is ready with conditions. So let's get to see the one that is ready with conditions. We tell us what we needed to do in order for us to do what, in order for it to be ready. So this is a domain controller on Windows Server 2008 R2. That's the operating system. And it's telling me that it's ready already, and I can use my suggested tool, which is what? Azure Migrate, server migration for me to perform this. Now, this is where I have connections with what I call the Azure Recovery Service. So Azure Recovery Service, at the point whereby I wanted to do what, where I want to do the migration, which I'm going to show us in a bit, we're going to see how we will go ahead and install the recovery agent, the replicate agent that we're going to use to migrate a particular VM or a particular machines that we want to do what, that we want to migrate to Azure. Like a question that was asked last week, that I don't want to migrate all these VMs, especially I don't want to migrate the 2 domain controllers to Azure. I just want to migrate just one domain controller and leave the other one on premise. While I do what? While I know the conditions of the migration, whether it's past the test migration phase or it doesn't pass the test migration phase. So we're going to see that. Now, regarding this one that is showing this, we get to see the error, unsupported boot record, and that, boot type. And that is because this one was configured to use EFI instead of BIOS. But even though we migrate it as well, is it still going to function as is expected to? Right? Even the boot system is not supported. So it's advising us that we need to go and change the boot type to BIOS, to support BIOS as a boot type. And I have configured the machine. I can't just say that I want to format the machine and change the boot type, being the generations that I use and everything. So I need to do what? I need to see how I can manage this. Then we get to see the Azure VM size that is being recommended as well, that we can even go to. And it tells us, if we go further, like if you click on it, you'll be able to see the costing. What is the cost of each of the VM? And even if you still have you still have hybrid benefits, like I mentioned last week, you still be able to use your you'll be able to use your on-premise license on your infrastructure that you hosted on Azure. We're going to see that shortly. So I'm going to be using one of the assessed server to do what? To migrate. Now we're going to be testing the migration now. So I'm going to be showing us on that. So let's go back to our Azure Migrate portal while we go to the server. I'm still coming to database. So you see, I have discover, replicate, migrate, and overview, right? If I click on overview, I'll still have the same thing. These are the faces, right? I must tell us this, that it is very, very important for us to, first of all, do replication before we are going to actually perform the main migration, which is on step 3. The reason for that is for your machines to be protected during what? During the migration. So you're going to do what? We're going to see how it does that as well. So it's going to tell us by recommendations, we're supposed to start with the step 1 for us to do the replications, for us to now do test migrations. The test migration is for us to perform whether this server is good to go or is going to be having any issue in form of what? In terms of migration, then we can now do our final migration. So the phases make it simpler and easier for us to do what? For us to migrate our workload, our servers to Azure as well. So let's get to see all, from here, let me say I want to replicate more. So this is a sample of server that I have replicated, right? I've replicated a particular server and it tells me the health. So it shows me the health status and it tells me the migration phase as well. So if I wanted to remove, if I want to go ahead and finalize this, I can go ahead and say, oh yes, I need to migrate this, right? Or I want to stop the replications, whether the replication is going on. So the replication is more using, is now using the Azure Replication Service. That's the ASR, we call it ASR. So it uses that to do what? To make sure the changes that you have on-premise, it is what? It is synchronized to all the servers that you have replicated to Azure Azure Migrate, using the Azure Migrate appliance or the Azure Migrate replication services. So let's see how we can do what? How we can replicate more machines from some of the servers that we have accessed before. Before we be able to do this, we need to first of all do our assessment as well. So let's see how we're going to go about that. So which of the virtualizations are we using? Even if it is physical machine, you need to go with the physical machine. But let's not forget that we are using what? Hyper-V. We have our VM on Hyper-V. So I'll go next. Then it's saying that select the virtual machines to be migrated. So I need to select the virtual machines to be migrated, and I want it to import migration settings from an assessment, which I have done. So if you want to say you don't want to do that, then you can do what? You can say specify, I will do the migration settings manually, right? So I'm using my Azure Migrate presently, so I will say, yes, apply migration settings from Azure Migrate assessment. Then I will need to select the group. If you recall, we also need to define the group. That's the assessment group of all our servers, which we have done. So I'm going to be using SQL, and I need to select the host where it's on. So it is on host 1 assessment, right? Then I need to now come on and select which of the VMs do I want to migrate here. So for now, you can see that this one is showing unknown OS, right? Unknown OS. So I can go ahead and migrate my SQL 2012 and say that I want to perform I want to perform the test migration. That's the replications. Let me go next on this, right? And now tells me about my target settings. You recall we mentioned we need to have what? We have our end goal is to migrate it to Azure, and we have defined the region at which we're going to be using our resources on Azure. So I'll need to select the resource group where migration will eventually be, and that is my resource group is Azure Migrate. Now I must tell us here, so resource group is the one that like a container that hosts all our resources that you can use to group all your resources together, right? So resource group is the one that groups all your resources together on Azure, right? Just like a container where you put all your resources in Azure. So the storage account, so I also have created a storage account, which is basically for the Azure Migrate diagnostics as well. So that's what I am using here. And that is the same thing that my log analytics is also feeding from. Then virtual network. So which virtual network do I want? Immediately I have this test replication is ongoing. Which virtual network do I want it to be? So I must have defined my virtual network here. So my virtual network is the one that I want all my servers to now use to do what? To get their resources or to even do their communications as well. So I will use my Azure Migrate VNet, which I have also created. Then I can select either the subnet. If you have so many subnets defined, you need to also specify the one that you wanted, right? So I'm going to select NAT subnet. Then here, I said earlier on that you can make use of what we call Azure hybrid benefits. So if you have a Windows Server license on premise, and it is, if you are eligible, if you fall under the category, that means if you probably have, you have software assurance with your Windows Server license, you'll be able to do what? You'll be able to use your Azure hybrid benefit, right? So I'm going to say I confirm yes. So I can go next to compute. So the compute now defines what is the OS that I want to use. What is the VM size? Pardon me, the VM size that I want to migrate my VM to. If you recall, I said it should use the assessment result, right? So, and you see here, it says automatically selecting matching configuration. So it has automatically selected this, right? So that's the reason why I will not select anything here, because it has given me that scope during the assessment. Then I can say, okay, the OS type is either Linux or it is Windows. So I'm going to choose Windows because the VM is Windows. So I can go next, right? Then the disk as well. So it's also going to create a disk for me. That's a storage disk for me, for my VM as well. So I can just go to review and start replications. So the replication is still what I am doing, right? I have not started the main migration. I've not even done the test migration. I've not performed my test migration activity. So what is going to happen? I need to see some of all the activities. I need to see the activities that is going on with this replication. So let me go to replicating machines. So I'll be able to see what is going on. So you can get to see here, it's saying enabling what? Enabling protections, and the test migration status is showing never performed, right? So immediately this one is completed, then I can go to the next phase, which is for me to do my what? To perform my test migration before I will now do my full migration of the server to Azure itself, right? So let's get to see what is going on premise. That's on my server or even my Hyper-V itself, right? So I want to show us what is going on there. Okay, just a minute, please. Okay, so okay, so I actually want to show us the task bar for us to see this. I think I'm just going to do something else. Task manager, if that's not the one on my own front. Yo, I think this is for my PC, not my server. Oh, this is for my PC. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so let me show us from here. Task. I want us to see the activity that is actually that is going on and the resources that is being utilized when we are performing the migration, right? So if you come to the task manager and you sort by this the name of the processes, you'll get to see that the CPU usage is not even shouting on anything. You're not having any shooting up, and this is the agent. This is the Azure Recovery Service. Service that the Azure portal. Azure Migrate is using to do what? To do the discovery, and this is what I'm just having. I'm having 50. This particular percentage, and if I get to see the hello.
Good evening.
Hello, please kindly mute your mic if you're not speaking, please.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the what? This is the service. This is the recovery service that I told us about that we need to install on the home premise Hyper-V. It's only on your Hyper-V that you need to install that on. So then let's get to see the Hyper-V server itself and see what is wrong. What is going on with the machine itself, right? Let's get to see that server manager so that I can quickly launch my tool and go to my Hyper-V manager. Let's get to see the VM itself. What is wrong with the VM? And let's see what activity is wrong. So is it using resources of the VM also, or to perform this activity, or is it going to affect our service even as we are doing the assessment as well? So let's get to see what is going on. Now, this is it. So this is the server itself. So you can say it's having the it's creating a replica and it's sending the initial replica. But if I should log on to the machine itself, is it shooting up the what? Is it shooting up the VM? Let's get to also see that on the VM itself. I'm inside the VM now. I can launch my task manager and get to see the services that is being used. So you can get to see that there is no what? I'm not having any impact. It's only the SQL that I'm running. It's only my SQL services that is actually taking up my processes, that is doing taking up my memory, like my reporting service. I'm not seeing any impact on the server. So which means this one assures us that there is no way, there is no way the replications or the testing the replications or performing this, we have impact on our what? We have impact on our production server should we want to do the migration. That is one of the reasons why we call it what? One of the ways why we call it simplifying our migration. So let's get to see what is happening back here. So let's see now how many we have. 2 has been healthy, right? So it should show us now that 2 have been healthy, and you see the synchronization status. The synchronization status is showing 0%, right? This is 0%. It's going to complete it. When it is 100%, is going to move to the next phase. We're going to perform the next phase on that, right? So that is about what? That is about our migration process. Remember, we are still on the replication. We have not gone to testing the migration, and we have not performed the migration proper. So let me go while that one is ongoing, right? So while that one is ongoing, let me go to databases, where how you can assess or perform databases assessment using what we know as data migration assessment tool, right? That is also what you can download from what? You can download it from the Azure Migrate. Remember, we say these are migration goals. So I have downloaded it already. Then I will also need to go to my server. I need to make this, pardon me. I need to go to our server. Oh, yes. So this is our server, and I have downloaded the data migration assistant, or the assessment tool, which is what you have here. I have downloaded it, and I have also installed it as well. So this is what it gives me, right? So I can launch it once I have installed that. You really do not need any words. You don't really need any special configuration. But the only thing is the server where you want to install the data migration assistant, you need to do what? You must have must have .NET Framework 4.7.2 as the minimum, right? And it has to be on Windows Server 2012. Windows Server 2012 upward. That's the compatibility. I mean, supportability of what? Supportability of the operating system. But when it comes to the application itself, talking about its databases itself, it goes as down as 2005, right? It will make assessment. It can assess down as 2005 SQL databases. So I'm just going to launch this now. I have a couple of databases on this server as well. So let's get to see how we can, let's know whether it is ready and how we can do what, how we can send the information from the data migration assistant to our Azure Migrate portal so that we can have an overview of it. If you recall last week, we mentioned that it is a hub for our, hub repository for our migration project, right? So I'm just going to click on new here for me to start the assessment. I'm going to give it a name. I'll give it a name, and the name I'll say Migrate. Then the database. So what's the assessment type? You want to do the database engine or you want to do the integration services? So I'm just going to do the database. Then source server type. Is it a SQL server or is AWS RDS for SQL server? So mine is SQL server. And what is my target server type? Do I want, if at the end of the day, I want to make assessments to know whether my database is compatible to be run, to be able to run on Azure SQL database, or is able to run as a managed instance, or is able to run as a SQL server installed on Azure virtual machine, or even as a standalone SQL server itself. So let's get to see it. So I'm just going to choose Azure SQL database, right? I'm going to choose Azure SQL database. You can perform as many assessments. This is also as part of the planning. Then you can also check database compatibility. Once I need to click on that, I have checked that. Then also check the feature parity, what is supported and what is not supported as well. So you'll be able to have that. And I'll click next here. One thing that you need to ensure of is that your wherever you want to use your assessment or data migration assistant must be able to communicate with other SQL databases that you have in the environment. So that's the key part. You need to have it to be able to communicate with that, right? So I'm just going to click next. Then I'll provide the SQL server name. That's the server that is hosting the SQL databases. So my own is SQL 2008 R2. Then I can click on connect, right? If you're using the authentication, if your authentication type is not Windows authentication for your databases, maybe you have other form of authentication, you can select them aside from Windows authentication. And you should be sure that once you have this, so these are the sources of these are the sources databases. So the database I want to do I want to make assessment. Let me also make assessment of this also. Then I can click on add, right? I can click on add. Then I can go on to say start assessment. So once I do that, you can see how simple and how easy it is for me to do for me to make this assessment, right? So once this assessment is done, right, I can get to now upload it. Let's get to have it being uploaded, right? We're going to see how we can do how we can do the upload. How we can do the upload of our results to Azure to make sure that we have all this report being saved. So you can save the assessment. And later have it. Maybe you want to run it again. You want to do what you want to run it maybe as many times as possible. You can save the assessment and do the restart of assessment as well, right? So that's another thing that we can do. I think this is still running for compatibility issues. So let me go and see another thing that is running that we're trying to achieve, right? One of the things we're trying to achieve is what we're trying to achieve the replication. That's the testing the replications and also to see what is going on about the Discover servers. So let's go to the overview and we can go to the replication machine. So this is still showing what? This is still showing synchronization. So I can refresh for me to see if it has changed. Also, it has not changed at all. So let's see. So I think while we are waiting for this, we take some questions. I can take some questions while we're waiting for those to do what? For those activity to actually be completed, right? So I don't know if we have any questions, if we have anybody with any questions or clarifications. Okay, in the absence of that, I think that means we have what? We have more insight. I mean, we have more understanding to it. Another thing I want to show us here is around this infrastructure server. This is where you get to see the host. And if it is disconnected, you can get to see the health of it here to know whether it is connected or it is not what? It is not connected at that point in time, right? So that's one of the things that we want to achieve. This is still running. This is still running. So this is among other things what we can use or leverage to make our journey easy, or we can use to simplify our journey to Azure in respect to our data and also in respect to our infrastructure, like our servers, any of the application, I mean, any servers that you may be having in the environment. I want to saddle us with that opportunity as well, that you can just, okay, so this one shows that there is no compatibility issue. And I can go ahead and upgrade, I mean, upload it to Azure. Yes, I'm going to say Azure, then I will connect. It's going to request my what? It's going to request for my subscription and my account details. So where I'm going to put it now. So let's see how we can do that. Let's quickly see how we can do that so that we can get to have an entry of how it shows us on our what? On our data, I mean, on our portal. Okay, this probably is because of the load that I have on the virtual machine itself, because I am running like 3 series of databases on the virtual machine. So pardon me for that. And the resources is about 2 gigs. So that is a disclaimer. That doesn't mean that we can run our SQL Server with 2 gigs. So you need to follow the full recommendations on that, or best practice for you to be able to run your SQL databases effectively, right?
Okay, James, before you continue, Idara has his hands raised.
Oh, awesome.
He has a question. Yeah. Idara, your question, please.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I have actually 2 questions. First of all, I want to ask about the assessment. The assessment looks like something, or reminds me of Map 2, the Microsoft Map 2. I want to know if this is like an upgrade for the Map 2 kit, or if Map 2 kit can be used for the assessment.
Okay. Thank you for that question. So Map 2 kit, one of the things that you can use to do an assessment is what we call Map 2 kit. That's Microsoft's assessment planning toolkit, right? So, but when it comes to the cloud, I mean, Microsoft Azure, even though you can use your Map 2 kit to no readiness of some of your servers to migrate to Azure. But when it comes to the whole migration process, a detailed and comprehensive assessment you can achieve with Azure Migrate, while Map Toolkit may not give you that assessment database. And another thing that you can do with this is this comprises of your virtual machines, right? It comprises of your virtual machines, while Map Toolkit covers both your virtual machines and also your the applications that is installed in the environment. And also, even though you can use your assessment, Azure Migrate also to do assessment of your hardware. That's the hardware that you have, where is hosting your virtual machines and so on. But you have Map Toolkit, which is for your it has a minimal functionality to what you can achieve with Azure Migrate appliance. I don't know if I am able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this has given me what? This has given me connectivity to my Azure. So I would need to select the subscriptions where I want to. Where my migration is. My assessment should be uploaded to, right? So that's what I'm waiting for. So let me select the. Okay. Yes. So this is the right one. So yes, please. This is the project, and I can upload now, right? I can upload it now. So that is the way we upload the assessment of our able to sequence contain no matching elements. Let's get to see. I may have to create another project for my database itself. So let me make an assessment. I need to create an assessment project here. So that's on that. Do we have any other question? Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Do we have any other questions? If there is any other questions, I'm going to take it from here. Okay. I need to get that. Hello. Okay. Let me just go on and do this. Okay. Okay, yes, I think that's the correct. This should be the correct project. Yeah. So that is on that. Let's get to see. We should have something flowing through now, right? Let me see the servers as well, whether we have the servers being ready for the so this one is showing 20% synchronized already. So 20% synchronized. So it's just gonna take a little while we have that. But for this this one that we tested in migration, we can have what? We can just do the cleanup test migration. Then from there, we'll be able to do what? You can see the information about it. So I'm having what? I'm having the status of the machine showing healthy. If the machine has any issue based on configurations, we're going to see the issue here. Then the last time it was synchronized, we're going to see it here. And what is going to be the target what? The target VM when it gets to Azure as well. So we get to see it here. Also the target locations, the target resource group, and also the VNet. So let me quickly just show us what that has given me. So this has given me what? It has given me this guy. So even though it is what? Even though it's showing a new DC test, so you're going to see all the tests, all the migration tests that you are trying to do. That's the test migration. You're going to see it as new, right? You're going to see test in front of it, right? So for everyone, you're going to see test in front of it, and you can get to know whether it is responding or is not responding, whether it boots to the Windows or it's not, it doesn't boot to the Windows. You get to have it on that, right? So that is, I think that should be about some of the things I wanted to show us. Our time did not permit us for us to go further on this. Oh yes, let's see the database now. So the database report is already collating here. So that's why we have what access databases instance is still showing 0, even though it's yet to upload the data. So once it completes the upload of the data, then I can go ahead and use my what and use my database migration service. I mean, using my Azure Migrate bot is going to rely on database migration service to perform what? To perform the database migration. So to Azure. And if I want it to be to a host, it's going to give me that. If I want it to be to a VM, it's going to give me that. If I want it as a managed instance, it's going to give me that. If I want it as a separate what, a separate configurations whereby I don't want to, I just want it to be something like a platform as a service. I'm also going to get that as well from my assessment, because my assessment is going to give me that compatibility and so on and so forth, right? So I don't know if we have further questions. I think time did not permit us. We have to bring it to a close here, right? So if we have any other words, if we have any other questions, I'm going to take that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Yeah. So
okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, James, for that wonderful session on how we can have a seamless cloud migration journey using the Azure Migrate tool. Okay, if we have questions, we welcome your questions now. But I have a question here for you, James. Someone is asking, okay, I think last week you mentioned that it's not only servers, we can use the Azure Migrate. Is someone speaking, please? Okay, we can also use the Azure Migrate to move web apps, servers, databases, and the rest of it. So the person is asking, does tenant migration involve these objects like web apps, servers, databases? Because if it does, then why can't tenant migration be achieved?
Tenant migration, when it comes to, you mean migrating resources from one tenant to the other?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have resources that is moving from one tenant to the other, right? So you, well, I can actually have a further discussion with I can get back to us with with a full information about that. But as regards tenant to tenant migration using Azure Migrate, in terms of Azure resources, I don't think it's I don't think it's something I will just give you a ready answer on. I can get back to us for that question, right?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so that person will get back to you. If we have further questions, please, to be welcome. Do we have questions, comments? Okay, that shows that we were well fed this evening on our topic for today, simplifying your movement to Azure using Azure Migrate tool. So in the absence of no further question, please let's not forget to fill our evaluation form that is on the chat window, and also to follow us on our social media pages, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and also on Twitter. Like us, reshare, repost, and stay connected to us for sessions like this. And also, please, we'll be looking forward to seeing all of you in our Tuesday Security Tech Talk. We know data and security is key at this time that we're faced with the COVID-19 pandemic. So we want to be able to mitigate and combat threats around our environment. So our Tech Tuesdays has been scheduled for us to have topics around security on how we can mitigate threats around our environment. And also, if you're interested, tomorrow, join us on our MCT Niger platform. We'll be having one of us that is an MCT trainer that will be taking us through the Microsoft 365 fundamentals tomorrow by 5 to 6 p.m. If that will be all for today, I'll say thank you to everyone for staying back on the call. We hope to see you next Thursday at the same time, where we'll take you through another wonderful and insightful topic like this. Thank you very much, and do enjoy the rest of your evening. And please don't forget, follow us on our social media pages, and also don't forget to fill our evaluation form. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.